Hello again. Today I'm going to discuss what I feel are the best colored pencils to send your little artist to school with. Normally I'm focused on reviewing colored pencils to determine what's going to be the easiest to use and result in the best product at a reasonable price. Today the focus is more on quality, price, durability, and how practical the pencils are to use in a classroom environment. And if you do have someone that is good at drawing, it never hurts to give them something that might make them stand out a bit more. I've done reviews on most of these pencils, and you can check them out. I'll try to provide links below or at the end of the video. If you've seen some of my reviews, then you'll probably think, I will choose the Crayolas, but you may be in for a surprise. The first on the list, and I'm going from worst to best, is the Crazy Art colored pencils. They cost about $2. They are round. The colors are labeled on them. I dislike them for the following reasons. They break and are not easy to sharpen. Color intensity is poor. They tend not to blend well. And because they are round, they would be prone to rolling off desks, which would result in more broken leads. Next are the Hilroy. Now, I really dislike these pencils because they are so dry and chalky. The intensity is quite poor. They don't layer or blend well either. They cost about $4 or twice the price of the Crazy Arts. And the only reason they place ahead of the Crazy Arts is that the leads don't really break. And the hexagonal shape prevents them from falling off desks. The colors aren't labeled on these pencils, and they seem to be one of the only sets where it's actually difficult to determine what color it is by looking at the pencil. I'm not 100% confident that I could tell you which pencil is the red one. Not an ideal pencil for an 8-year-old. After using these for the first time, I told myself I wouldn't use them again. But once in a while, I do return to these pencils mainly to compare them to a new set. After 5 minutes of using them, I'm convinced yet again that they are near the bottom of the bucket when choosing colored pencils. My last choice would still be Crazy Art, and the Hilroy would win out simply because of the hexagonal shape and the fact that it is difficult to break the leads. At the other end of the student pencil spectrum is the Prismacolor Scholar colored pencils. This is a 60 set and is probably going to be more pencils than the average student needs, probably too many. This set was $20 or about 33 cents a pencil. You can get smaller sets, but you'll likely pay a higher per pencil price. Problems I've found with Prismacolor Scholar is broken leads. Even on this set you can see the brown is broken and hasn't been sharpened. The white and black are quite prone to splitting down the middle. This can be very frustrating as they're typically your most used colors. All the pencils are labeled, and I believe you can definitely get a significantly better quality product than using a Crazy Art or Hilroy or even Crayola. I think it is easier to use these pencils, but trying to deal with 60 pencils on a desk is something I wouldn't want to try. This is one pencil set where you don't want to drop the pencils. The set does come with a handy little fold-up case, but I find I still put a dozen or so pencils on my table at any one time. I haven't done it yet, but I wouldn't want to knock the entire case off the table. I imagine that would be pretty messy. For someone who is taking art classes at school, maybe a teenager, these might be a good set to pick up. The colors aren't as intense as artist grade pencils, but they can still produce quality drawings. For younger kids, I would choose something else. Next is the Faber Castell Classic Colored Pencils. This is a 48 set and it cost me about $30. Depending on where you live, you should be able to get them cheaper. The pencils are hexagonal in shape, so they are unlikely to roll on you. They sharpen well, the leads are strong, and I haven't had any issues with them breaking. This set has a good selection of colors, and the color choices seem to appeal to artists rather than kids. Color intensity isn't as good as artist grade pencils, but that is to be expected. The pencils are not labeled, rather they are numbered, and it takes some time to adjust to the lack of labels. If these are the only pencils you are using, then it shouldn't be too much of a problem though. I think these are great pencils, and the only things bad about them are the price, in my situation, and they don't hold up well against light exposure. However, I'm not sure your 11-year-old is overly worried about light fastness of the pencils. So if you can afford these, they are definitely a good choice. The package isn't that easy to work with, but they do come in tins, and the pencils are durable enough to be stored in a pencil case. Now I'll give a short mention of Prang colored pencils, but I'm going to exclude them from the rankings because I haven't done a complete review on them yet. This 50 set cost me $16, so they are around the same price as Prismacolor Scholar pencils. My first impressions that they probably aren't the best for students. First, they're round pencils and they roll quite nicely. The second thing that stands out is the case. The box is very flimsy and feels like it'll fall apart with little abuse. I picked them up because I heard good things about them and I plan to do a review very soon. But until then, I don't really want to recommend them. By far, one of my favorite inexpensive pencils are the Crayola Pencil. This 24 set here costs under $3. It has all the colors you really need, and it even comes with a sharpener. They are fairly durable. I haven't broken very many of them, and I do burnish quite hard with them. They sharpen reasonably well, so for a $2 to $3 package of pencils, I don't think you can ask for more. Now, one drawback is that they are round and prone to rolling off your table. But because they are more durable than many of the other round pencils, I don't see this as a huge drawback. The last thing is that they aren't light fast, and any artwork you do with these will fade depending on how much light they're exposed to. This particular set will be going to school with my 8-year-old. The Crayolas don't quite win my best for school pencil. That title goes to Staedtler. Now the only reason that Staedtler takes top spot is because they're not round. They're triangular in shape. They don't come with color labels, but the assortment of colors is straightforward enough to not be confusing. There is a good range of colors. If you've seen my review on these, you'll recall that I struggled with getting intense colors. The pencils seemed a bit dry, almost chalky. They didn't blend very well, nor did they layer that well. Overall, they seem like an average or even slightly below average colored pencil. But I'm not sending my kids to school expecting them to draw like Heather Rooney. These pencils sharpen well and they don't break. They are definitely better than Crazy Arts and Hilroy's. The triangular shape helps prevent them from rolling off desks. Typically, these pencils cost around $4 or $5, which is a little more expensive than Crayolas. If I want to send my kids to school with 2 sets of pencils without making a serious dent in my wallet, then I'd go for Staedtler or Crayola. Of course, if I want to send my kids to school with some premium colored pencils, and I'm not too concerned about the costs, then I might first look at Faber Castell classic colored pencils, or Prismacolor Scholar or even Prismacolor Premier. The Prismacolors would only be for the more mature student, who are less likely to be dropping their pencils. If you stay clear of Hilroy and Crazy Art, you should be doing good. With the Crayolas going out with my 8-year-old and the Staedtler heading out with my 11-year-old, after they've used them for a little bit, I will try to get some feedback on how well the pencils are working for them. That's all for now. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I should be back in a week with another review.